It's exactly 7:43 p.m. when I turn the key in my house door. There's a weird silence. Normally, the kids would be cranking up the TV and playing video games. I drop my briefcase at the entrance and notice muffled voices coming from the dining room. Familiar faces stare at me as I walk in. Jennifer, my 19-year-old wife. Brandon and Tyler, my college-age sons. Elizabeth, my always intrusive mother-in-law. And Kevin, supposedly my best friend since high school. Richard, I'm glad you're here. We need to talk. Jennifer's voice sounds rehearsed. 5 serious expressions, nervous hands on the dining table I bought when we made partner at the law firm. Something's not right. Hey, Dad, look. Tyler, my youngest, starts but then stops. Brandon, the eldest, takes over. We've decided that, well, things need to change here at home. Jennifer adjusts in her chair. We feel like you're not really present in our family anymore, Richard. You're always working. Kevin's been the one really supporting the kids at sports events, helping with college applications. Kevin, my friend of 30 years, avoids eye contact as he wraps his arm around Jennifer's chair in a disturbingly familiar way. What Jennifer's trying to say, Rich, is that I've been taking on certain responsibilities around here, you know? The kids need a dad who's actually around. My kids, whom I support with every drop of sweat from my 70-hour work weeks at the firm, nod in agreement. Elizabeth smiles subtly. You're not the one in charge here anymore, Richard, Jennifer concludes. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. I look at each of them. 17 years of marriage, 2 decades of friendship with Kevin. My own kids, people for whom I sacrifice trips, hobbies, and free time to secure the best future possible. Everybody's expecting an explosion, a shout, fists on the table, maybe even tears. That's what normal people would do. But corporate lawyers like me don't get where we are by acting on impulse. I take a deep breath, adjust my tie, and simply say, I understand. Their faces show confusion. Jennifer frowns. That's it? I understand? Richard, you... I calmly stand up, grab my briefcase, and leave through the front door without looking back. I can hear Brandon mumble, "That was easier than we thought," as I shut the door. In the car, I start the engine and sit perfectly still for exactly 3 minutes. No tears, no despair. Just a crystal clear understanding of what needs to be done. I drive to the office instead of looking for a hotel. My colleagues have already left. Perfect. The solitude on the 47th floor lets me think with surgical precision. First call. To Martin, my personal banker for the past 12 years. Martin, I need you to freeze all joint accounts with Jennifer Montgomery immediately. Richard, it's almost 9 p.m. What's going on? Urgent need to protect assets. I can explain formally tomorrow. Can you handle this now? Martin never disappoints. 15 minutes later, I get confirmation. Jennifer no longer has access to a single cent out of our nearly $2 million in joint accounts. Second call. To Thomas Reeves, a contentious divorce specialist. Tom, this is Richard Montgomery. I need to start divorce proceedings with urgency. I have evidence of asset misappropriation and infidelity. Truth be told, I don't have solid proof of the affair yet, but I'll find it. Lawyers know how to build a case. Third call. To Sarah, my assistant. Sarah, cancel all my appointments for the next 3 days. Tell them I'm dealing with a family emergency. And prepare a full dossier on Kevin Williams' partner companies. The next morning, while staying at the Four Seasons, I start getting the first notifications. Jennifer tried to make a purchase at the mall and her card was declined. She tried another card, declined too. She tried to withdraw money, denied. 27 missed calls from her in just 2 hours. None of them answered. I send emails to Brandon and Tyler's colleges to inform them of the immediate cancellation of their tuition payments. As the main donor to the scholarship fund, I add a note requesting that they notify me personally about the suspension. I call my accountant to cancel the monthly transfer I've been doing for the past 5 years to contribute to Jennifer's parents' retirement. Not a single extra cent for Elizabeth, who probably helped orchestrate my downfall. At 1 p.m., I get a desperate message from Tyler. Dad, what's going on? The college said I was suspended for non-payment. Is this some kind of mistake? I don't answer. It's not a mistake. Kevin built his little real estate consulting empire thanks to my connections. His 3 biggest clients came from presentations I made. His bank loan was approved with my letter of recommendation, and his accountant, my cousin. It only takes 1 afternoon for me to dismantle all that. I call Marcus Henley, CEO of Riverside Development. Marcus, I'm reevaluating some partnerships. Unfortunately, I can't recommend Kevin Williams for the mall project anymore. In fact, I strongly suggest you reconsider your business relationship with him. Marcus doesn't ask questions. Our friendship and the contracts I brought in are worth millions. If I say Kevin's a problem, he's a problem. I do the same with each of Kevin's clients, suppliers, and partners. By about 5 p.m., I get a furious call from him. "What the hell are you doing, Richard? Riverside just canceled our contract. The bank's reevaluating my loan." I hang up without replying. The destruction is just beginning. 3 days after I vanished, I watch from a distance at my old house. Jennifer rushes out, her hair disheveled, a rare sight for her, since she's always been so particular about her looks. She parks in front of the bank where we've held our main account for 15 years. 40 minutes later, she returns to the car, striding heavily and with a red, frustrated face. The bank manager must have explained, neither the accounts nor the investments are accessible to her anymore. Brandon calls for the 10th time in 2 hours. I decide to pick up, keeping silent on my end. "Dad? Dad, are you there?" His voice trembles. "We need to talk. The college. They said they canceled my extra athletic scholarship because you pulled your annual donation. I'm about to be kicked out of the dorms. What's happening?" I remain intentionally silent. "Dad, I know you got upset after that conversation, but it was Mom's idea, and Kevin's too. I hang up. It's interesting how quickly the blame shifts to Mom and Kevin. So predictable. That afternoon, I receive an email from the law school where I occasionally teach. Tyler tried to get an emergency loan using my name as guarantor. Denied, of course. Elizabeth, my meddlesome mother-in-law, tries a new angle. A voicemail full of insincere concern. "Richard, dear, we're all very worried. Jennifer is devastated. It was just a misunderstanding, you know my daughter. Please, let's handle this like adults." What Elizabeth doesn't mention is that the monthly deposit I sent to her and her husband's account, supposedly to help with the meds, has been stopped, or that the apartment they live in, which I bought as an investment, is now up for immediate sale. Kevin takes a different approach, sending a long email full of empty apologies. "Rich, we've been friends for 30 years. Things got out of hand, I admit. But wrecking my business? My reputation? It isn't fair to the innocent employees." The innocent employees are just 3 people, hired recently when Kevin's business started growing, thanks to my connections. And as for our friendship, apparently it meant nothing when he decided to take my place in my own family. Finally, Jennifer realizes the gravity when she tries to use the department store card to buy groceries. Denied. The backup card? Denied. The card I had hidden in the lingerie drawer for emergencies? Canceled 48 hours ago. I get photos on my cell. The nearly empty fridge. A clumsy attempt to tug at my heartstrings. I ignore it. Later that night, from my hotel room, I watch the bank account movements I can still track. Jennifer tried transferring the few dollars from her personal account to a new account. Too late. My lawyers had already obtained a court order freezing any financial movement from her account until the divorce is over. Reality starts to set in the house I built. Without me, there's no money. Without money, there's no comfort, security, or future. The family that so easily cast me aside now has to face who really kept that sandcastle standing. On the 5th day, my phone logs 69 missed calls. Jennifer, 31. Brandon, 15. Tyler, 12. Elizabeth, 8. Kevin, 3. The drop in Kevin's calls suggests he finally got the message. The voicemails evolve from indignant to pleading. Jennifer, day 1. "Richard, this is ridiculous. Come home immediately so we can fix this like adults." Jennifer, day 3. "Please, Richard. The bills are due. I can't access anything. The kids are desperate about college." Jennifer, day 5. "I'm begging you. What do you want me to do? Tell me how to fix this." Brandon, always the practical one, sends a long text, detailing how his academic and athletic life is being harmed, how he lost his swimming spot because you cut the annual sponsorship I provided. As if I didn't know he'd stopped swimming months ago, preferring to party with his friends over morning practice. Tyler, the youngest and perhaps the most sincere, leaves a message that almost moves me. "Dad, I know I messed up. All of us did. I didn't realize how much we depended on you. Not just for your money. I'm sorry. Please, can we talk?" Elizabeth tries to play the guilt card. "Richard, you're destroying your family with that wounded pride. Think about the kids, their future. The future I meticulously built while they cast me aside." Kevin shows up at the office unannounced. My secretary, pre-instructed, won't let him in. He yells in the lobby, causing a scene until security escorts him out. Hours later, I learned that his last big client terminated the contract. His company is now worth less than the office furniture. The boldest move comes when they all show up at the office together. Jennifer, the kids, even Elizabeth. A coordinated intervention. My secretary, following my precise orders, hands each of them an envelope. Brandon opens his first. A copy of the bank statement showing every transfer I made to his personal account over the past 4 years. Over $100,000 that were supposed to go to books, housing, and college needs, but were spent on cars, parties, and fleeting girlfriends. Tyler finds photos in his envelope. Him having parties at my office when he thought I was away. Him and his friends drinking my expensive whiskey, smoking my cigars, lounging on the Italian leather chairs that cost me 3 months' salary. Jennifer gets the heaviest. A preliminary analysis of our prenuptial agreement, highlighting the infidelity clause she apparently forgot about. And photos. Lots of photos. Of her and Kevin checking into fancy motels during the past few months while I was working too much. Elizabeth only receives one sheet. The sales contract for the apartment she lives in, already with 3 offers. Above market value. They leave the office in silence, defeated by the proof of their own betrayals. That night, the calls stop completely. Reality has finally set in. After 2 weeks living in a hotel, I decide it's time for one-on-one confrontations. I planned each meeting meticulously, like a legal strategy for a major case. I start with Jennifer. I agree to meet her at the office, a neutral ground where I have complete control. She arrives 10 minutes early, something that never happened in our marriage. Light makeup, hair without the weekly expensive treatment, simple clothes instead of the luxury brands she always demanded. "Richard, thanks for seeing me," she says, her voice slightly trembling. "We need to fix this. The kids are suffering." "The divorce is underway," I reply with a neutral tone. "My lawyers will contact yours." "Divorce? Can't we at least talk about what happened? 19 years thrown away over one difficult moment?" "A difficult moment would be an argument, Jennifer. You orchestrated my replacement. You invited my friend to take my place. You convinced our sons to reject their own father. This isn't just a difficult moment. It's a complete betrayal." Her eyes fill with tears, probably calculated ones. "I never meant for it to come to this. Kevin was just helping while you worked so much, helping in my bed too." I slide the photos across the table. She pales. "How long, Jennifer? 6 months? A year? While I was working to maintain your lifestyle, you were laughing behind my back? It wasn't like that. I felt so alone, abandoned." "Alone? With a platinum unlimited credit card, a chauffeur at your beck and call, and accounts at the best stores in town. What kind of abandonment was that?" She tries another approach. "The kids need you. Brandon could lose his scholarship for good. Tyler is even living with a friend. They made their choices when they said they no longer needed me as a father. I'm just respecting their decision." Jennifer finally breaks down. "What do you want? Tell me what we need to do to fix this." "Nothing. There's no fixing it. The divorce will be finalized in a few weeks. You'll keep the house, mortgage to the limit, of course, and a monthly sum enough for a modest living. No luxuries, no extravagance. The kids will have to work for their studies just like I did. You can't do this. You're punishing your own children. I'm teaching them what you failed to teach. Actions have consequences." She leaves the office defeated, without another word. The meeting with Brandon happens at the house, while I pack some of my belongings. He looks years older in just a few weeks. "Dad, I lost my spot on the team. I'm working part-time at a cafe to pay rent. That's valuable experience. My first job was carrying boxes at a supermarket. But you always said you wanted us to have opportunities you never had, and I gave you all those opportunities. What did you do with them? Parties, trips, new cars, and when it came time to show even a bit of loyalty, you chose Kevin. It was Mom's idea. Kevin was always around. You were never..." "I was working, Brandon, building the future you just lost." I leave the house with a few clothes and personal items, ignoring his calls. Tyler meets me in the college parking lot. Of all of them, he seems the most genuinely remorseful. "I got a student loan," he says bluntly. "I'm going to graduate, even without your help." "Good. At least pride breeds determination." "It's not pride, Dad. It's shame. I let Mom and Kevin convince me of things that weren't true about you. And now? Now I know you worked so hard for us. It was always for us." I feel a flicker of emotion, quickly suppressed. "Good luck with your studies, Tyler." He extends his hand, which I briefly shake before he leaves. Kevin is the last. Cornered after practically losing everything, he makes one last desperate move, showing up at the door of the hotel where I'm staying. You won, Richard. You destroyed my life. Are you satisfied now? Satisfied? No. Indifferent, maybe. We were friends for 30 years. And that didn't mean a thing when you decided to take advantage of my absence to steal my place. The accounts, the car, the house, you could have had it all. But my kids, my family, Jennifer was unhappy. And instead of being a friend and warning me, you saw an opportunity. Now live with the consequences. He tries to argue more, but the hotel security, already on alert, escorts him out. Looking out my room window, I see his old car. The new one was repossessed, slowly driving away. I feel nothing. No anger, no sadness. Just the emptiness that follows a necessary amputation. A month later, I moved to a new apartment in another neighborhood. It's smaller than the house I used to live in, but surprisingly cozy. No memorabilia, no family photos on the walls, no reminders. For the first time in 19 years, I wake up without the crushing weight of impossible expectations. Without Jennifer complaining that I'm not around enough while asking for more money to redo the decor for the third time this year. Without the kids always asking for more and never appreciating what they already have. Without Elizabeth's meddling calls, questioning all my decisions. I go for a run in the morning. Something I always wanted to do but never had time for. I cook my own dinner. I watch movies I want to see, not the ones Jennifer insisted were culturally relevant. I even buy a motorcycle, an old dream always dismissed as too dangerous for a family man. At the office, I take on fewer cases, but the ones I do are the ones that really interest me. The quality of my work improves. Colleagues notice I'm more relaxed and focused. My phone rings less, and the desperate messages gradually stop as the family realizes there's no going back. The divorce moves quickly, thanks to the prenuptial agreement and the evidence of infidelity. Occasionally, I hear indirect news. Jennifer landed a job as a receptionist at a friend's clinic, her first job in nearly 2 decades. Brandon temporarily dropped out of college, working full-time to save money. Tyler manages to keep up with his studies, albeit with difficulty, and his grades have improved. Hard times sharpening his focus. Kevin completely disappears. According to mutual acquaintances, he moved to another state and is now working as a car salesman at a used car lot. The irony isn't lost on me. The guy who always flaunted expensive cars is now selling the cheapest ones. Elizabeth and her husband are forced to move to a smaller apartment once the sale of their property is finalized. Their attempts to contact me cease entirely once they realize there's no more financial benefit to be extracted. One evening, almost a year after I left, I get a call from Jennifer. I answer, more out of curiosity than anything else. "Richard? I didn't expect you to pick up." Her voice sounds tired, aged even. "What do you want, Jennifer?" "Just to talk. I'm alone at the house. It feels strange after so much time together." "You're not alone because of me. I know. I really messed everything up." There's a pause. "I still think about you every day. About the good times we had. I guess I still love you after all." The old Jennifer would expect this confession to move me, that I'd rush back pleading for reconciliation and promising to forget everything. "Good for you," I reply calmly. "But I don't love you anymore." Silence on the other end. Finally, a belated realization that some doors, once closed, never reopen. "I understand," she finally says. "Can I ask one last thing? Are you happy now?" I look around my new apartment. It's simpler than the mansion we once lived in, but it's truly mine. I think about the motorcycle in the garage, the trips I'm taking alone, the books I finally have time to read, the quiet dinners without drama, the mornings without constant demands. Yes, Jennifer, I'm happy, truly happy. I hang up and go back to the book I was reading. There's no more anger or desire for revenge. Just the peaceful calm of someone who's finally freed themselves from chains they never knew they were carrying. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get more stories like this. 6 months after I left, the divorce is finalized. Jennifer receives exactly what the prenuptial agreement stipulated. The house, with a mortgage, her car, already 3 years old, and a modest monthly pension that only covers the basics. No annual bonuses, no company shares, no investments accumulated over nearly 2 decades. My lawyers tell me she tried to contest it, claiming I forced her into the deal, and that I abandoned the home. The judge, reviewing the evidence of infidelity, and that family meeting that spurred my departure, rejected every argument. Brandon finally reaches out, not for money, but to talk. We meet at a neutral cafe. He looks different, thinner, more serious, in simple clothes instead of the expensive brands he used to demand. "I'm going back to college next semester," he says. "I saved enough for my first year." "How did you do that?" 3 jobs. Waitressing in the morning, delivering in the afternoon, and working security on some weekends. It's not easy. I never said it would be. Dad, I know I don't deserve anything after what happened, but you completely abandoned us. You gave me the green light, Brandon. You clearly said Kevin was a better dad. I just respected the family's decision. We were idiots. We didn't know what we had. And now you do? Now we do. I offer him a deal. I won't pay his tuition directly, but if he keeps his grades up and holds a job, I'll supplement his income with a modest monthly sum. He agrees, looking genuinely grateful for the first time in years. Tyler adapts a bit better. He secures a partial merit-based scholarship, supplemented with on-campus work. Sometimes we grab lunch together. We talk about his studies and his plans. No family drama, no dwelling on the past. It's a new relationship built on more honest foundations. Kevin disappears completely. According to common acquaintances, he moved to another city and now works as a car salesman at a used car lot. I can't help but notice the irony. The guy who once flaunted expensive cars is now selling the cheapest ones. Elizabeth and her husband are forced to move to a smaller apartment once the sale of their property goes through. Their attempts to contact me stop entirely once they realize there's nothing left for them to gain. One night, almost a year, after I left, I get another call from Jennifer. I answer mostly out of curiosity. "Richard, I didn't expect you to pick up." Her voice sounds tired, worn. "What do you want, Jennifer?" "Just to talk. I'm alone at home. It feels so strange after everything." "You're not alone because of me. I know. I ruined everything." She pauses. "I still think about you every day. About the good times we had. I guess I still love you, despite everything." The old Jennifer would expect this confession to move me, that I'd rush back, pleading for reconciliation and promising to forget the past. "Good for you," I reply calmly, "but I don't love you anymore." Silence. Finally, a late understanding that some doors, once closed, never reopen. "I understand," she says at last. "Can I ask one more thing? Are you happy now?" I look around my new apartment. It's simpler than the mansion we once had, but it's truly mine. I think about the motorcycle in the garage, the trips I take alone, the books I finally have time to read, the quiet dinners without drama, and the mornings without constant demands. Yes, Jennifer, I'm happy, truly happy. I hang up the phone and go back to the book I was reading. There's no more anger, no more desire for revenge. Just the peaceful calm of someone who's finally free from chains they never knew they were carrying. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get more stories like this.